Hey fam, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here. Today I am recapping season 7, episode 5 of Welcome to Plathville. The title is The Secret. Go ahead and do me a favor and hit the like button. I don't know you guys. I need to find out. Y'all let me know down in the comments below. Are y'all team Micah or team Veronica? Because at this point, I found myself being a little on the fence because last episode I was so irritated with the way that Micah and Ethan and some of the others handled the whole situation with Lydia and her proposal and Zach. And this week, I'm still a little irritated by that, but I'm also irritated with this whole thing with Veronica because part of me feels like Micah feels like because he cheated on Veronica that he owes her and he's sticking around while putting up with her anger. But then a part of me feels like I could be missing some key things because you all know I didn't watch last season or the season before that. So there's some stuff that I'm missing here. You guys let me know what you think because I'm really interested in hearing it. So let's get into this episode. We ended the last episode with Ethan being disrespectful as hell and pissing me off, asking Zach if he is gay. Now he asks this question, and Zach remains calm. He chuckles and he says no. He tells the guys he understands where they're coming from. He tells us he does have some feminine tendencies. Maybe that's because he grew up with his two sisters, but for him, he thinks that this is just them being in protective mode, and them being in protective mode is fair. What they are doing is not protective mode. They are being jerks. They are purposely belittling this young man because they have an opinion of him that at this point is deemed to be false. And because they feel this way, they're treating him like crap. They try to fix it because Zach, unlike them, is being kind, and they try to say, no offense. No, I'm offended. Micah then does the thing that I hate that people do, where they try to excuse the dumb things that they say by saying stuff like, "Oh, I know I just asked you if you're gay, or I know my brother just asked you if you're gay, but Veronica has a lot of gay friends, and I have some gay friends too, and they're great people." If that's truly the case, if you truly know people who are gay, in my opinion, you would understand that the last thing you would do is put them on the spot like this in a setting where they aren't protected, in a setting where there's a bunch of cameras and strangers around. This is not the question that you ask with a camera crew. So I'm not really buying some of what you're trying to sell. I get that you may have gay friends, but I know for me, my friends that are homosexual, even if I thought that there was a possibility that they were, that was never anything that I asked them. I understood in my mind that they would come to me and they would tell me when they were ready. And that is very much so what happened. In some cases, I had no idea whatsoever. And when they told me, I was utterly shocked. And others, it was like, okay, I was just waiting for you to tell me. But to sit there and to act like what you just did isn't problematic and offensive and so many other things, it blows my mind. So Micah is trying to act like he is in a position to judge Zach, talking about how he's not really going to have time to hang out with him here, but because he's about to go back to Boca, but he would love for Zach to come so that he could see his work ethic. Sir, you're putting up a couple of fences, and he might not be good at that. He might be good at something else. You're not in a position to really test him out, in my opinion. Now, Ethan wants Zach to still earn his acceptance, but I don't feel like he needs it. Barry has already given this young man approval, and the person who he's marrying wants him. She doesn't really care. I mean, she cares, but whether or not y'all approve is not going to prevent her from marrying this man. She's very much so going through with this, but y'all are acting like your opinion is going to stop the show. So Zach, in my opinion, has been through the ringer, and at this point, he went from a high to having to deal with this low of these brothers, and he just needs to rest his mental. They really jacked him up. I can only begin to imagine what the conversation that he had with Lydia was. So it's the next day, and Lydia proves yet again that she is a better person than me, because hearing her say that she wasn't upset when Zach told her what her brothers did, to hear her say she wasn't mad when they asked him if he was gay, to hear her say that she was disappointed, it just shows the type of heart that she has. Because had those been my brothers, I would have given them a mouthful. Lydia is saying that she doesn't understand why they would even begin to ask Zach that question when all he's doing is just trying to honor and respect her. She's thinking that they're asking him that solely because of the fact that they have not been physical, they haven't kissed and things of that nature. She doesn't get that they're asking them that because they actually think that he is gay for other reasons. And she is hurt because her brother did the same thing that they're doing. Now, maybe he was kissing and stuff, but he wasn't having relations. And she points that out. She says her brother waited for marriage and she didn't think that he was gay. Now, production wants her to go further into that, but she's not going to. Once again, showing she's a better person than me, because there were a lot of comments season 1, and I am currently reviewing the old seasons. And as I said before, Ethan very much so presented like Zach. Ethan was goofy and giggly and smiling really hard as he drank Coca-Cola and enjoying the fruity margaritas and all these other things that he would say and do. And you would think that if you went through what you went through the first season or seasons that you came out, that you would show a little bit more compassion towards someone else. But apparently all that has gone out the window. So we see that Amber and Ethan have joined Veronica and Micah in Boca. They're going to be spending a couple days with them. Micah and Ethan are going to be working at the new house, getting things together, while Amber and Veronica are hanging out at the old house. Now, because Veronica isn't into the traditional roles, because she doesn't wash dishes, she only cooks if she feels like it, and she'll cook for herself and not for Micah, or she'll cook for the both of them with him cooking with her. Because she doesn't take on traditional roles in her relationship with Micah, she is in the kitchen judging Lydia for being more traditional in her approach. Veronica is judging Lydia, but I am judging Veronica, because Veronica, I think it's odd that you don't wash dishes. And I think it's odd that there are times where you act like Micah is your servant instead of your man. And I think it's odd that at one point it looked like your dog had a eyebrow that was drawn on or something. I think like his eyebrows were too perfect. I think that that's odd. I think that it's odd that you're standing in this kitchen talking to this 15-year-old about her family and not feeling like she may not be insulted, or go back and tell her family some of the things that you're sitting there and you're telling her. You can talk about the others all you want to, but for you to be judgmental about Lydia, who seems to be one of the kinder people of the older siblings, who is very unproblematic, who stays in her own lane, who spent much of her life serving her family, cooking and cleaning and looking after the little kids, for you to be judgmental of her when she's finally found somebody who cares about her and who lets her feel like her opinion matters and who loves on her and who actually seems to be like a good guy based on the interviews that I've seen, it's wrong. It kind of comes across like you're jealous. Are you jealous because she got a ring and you didn't? I'm just wondering. because I don't get why she has so much heat for Lydia in this situation. I get being concerned, but it's taking it to the next level when you're demeaning her for her beliefs. So she's worried that Lydia is more focused on wanting to be a wife and that she's losing herself. This is who she is. This is who she was raised to be. I think, if anything, Lydia is beginning to find herself. I think by her travels and things of that nature, and her wanting to go on this mission, that's going to be her opportunity to find herself. I think for the first time in a long time, she's discovering things about herself. So Amber, who is 15 years old, points out that it really doesn't matter what Veronica thinks, and she tells Veronica this because this is what Lydia wants, and they're not in a position to judge what it is that she wants. Amber is 15 years old, you guys. She's 15. And she has a higher level of maturity than her siblings and Veronica combined. It's giving very much so. I'm learning from some of the mistakes of my siblings, and I'm not about to let you sit here and talk about Lydia, who's been good to me, who's been kind to me, who's looked after me, who I care about and I love, the way that you're trying to talk about her. So Veronica goes from talking about Lydia, because Amber kind of shuts that down, to proceeding to talk junk about Amber's family. She's saying that Zach doesn't even know what he's getting into, that she herself went from being welcomed to now being replaced. Who are you being replaced by? Are you feeling threatened because Ethan has a new girlfriend in Tegan? Who exactly are you being replaced by? You all don't live in the same states. And for the most part, it seems like the only people who really see each other frequently is Kim and Barry in terms of their exchange of the girls. It feels to me like it's a situation where a lot of you all are divided and you come together for the purposes of filming. So, what exactly, how are you being replaced? So, Micah's not there yet. She says that Mariah lies on her and that Barry has a problem with her. Amber's like, look, our family isn't that great at communicating. You know, maybe the problem is that we are thinkers. And she tells Veronica, like, look, I think that you have a tendency to build up things, and then sometimes you exaggerate, and sometimes you interpret things the wrong way. I don't know because I haven't seen some of the other seasons, but there are instances where I do feel like Veronica exaggerates, where I do feel like Veronica is very condescending in her tone and snarky and demeaning. And some of what she does could be labeled as emotional or verbal abuse. Because if Micah was saying and doing some of the things that she said and done, we would come after him for doing and saying those things. So I'm not going to sit here in this instance and hear how she's talking to him and how she's belittling him and acting like that's okay. If it gets to that point, move on, get out. Why are you still with this person? You can leave anytime you want to. I don't understand, especially if the way she's talking, the houses, it sounds like they're hers. We'll get into it. So the guys come back to the house, and Micah can sense automatically that something is off. Now, normally Amber and Veronica get along, but he can feel the energy there that something happened. So a story is told about Zach and Ethan throwing cheese at like 4 cars, and Micah supposedly being there but acting like he wasn't there. How old are we? Why are we throwing cheese at cars? Anyway, they're just big kids. So Veronica's like, okay, so the story keeps changing. I thought you weren't there. Now you're there. Then it was only 2 cars. Then it was 4 cars. Like, what is it? So Amber tells like Michael, like, uh-oh, you about to get in trouble for lying. And she's like, I didn't say that he was a liar. I said that he lied. And it turns into a thing. Veronica, then claims to be gaslit constantly by the family, that she is the emotionally intelligent one. And I can't tell. Because Veronica, in this episode, I saw a lack of awareness. I saw a lack of self control. And I see you having these discussions with this 15-year-old girl that, for real, she's not a part of the problem. So why are you having the discussion with her, in front of her, any of that stuff? So she then is complaining about Barry again and how the family has flip flopped on her, and about how she's going to keep on talking about this until it's resolved. I put in my notes, just leave. Micah, of course, is making excuses for his family, and he's going to continue to do so. If we haven't learned anything from this situation, it's that these young men are going to pick their family over their girlfriends. And here's the thing, I can't say what I would do if the situation was reversed, but I know that my family would never treat anyone like this. I've said it before. There have been people that I have been involved with. There's people that my brother is involved with that I may not care for. But at the end of the day, that's his decision. At the end of the day, whomever I date is my decision. And people are going to say their opinion. And that's the extent of it. To have your family overly involved, or to say all the things that you're saying, and to then not understand why they have a problem with you, is like, girl, this is one of the reasons why they have a problem with you, because you keep on running your mouth. I don't know what she expected here. I said very early on in the season that I didn't really care for Veronica, and I still don't. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the Plaths aren't wrong, because I think that they are. I think that they do gang up on people. I think there's a lot of things that have occurred off camera that we haven't seen. But I can't feel sorry for someone who decides to stay in this situation when there's no reason for them to. Micah moved in with you. Kick him out. So we go back to the Plath's house. This whole time, I thought that Lydia was going to be moving to Colorado to get away from these people. But apparently she's not. I guess the big secret is that, or the big surprise is that Zach is going to be moving there. Now, by there, I thought she was meaning Cairo, but I think he's going to be working in Tallahassee and living in Cairo, it sounds like. He has a tennis job for the city that's going to be in Tallahassee, so he'll be moving there. Now, Barry offers for Zach to stay at his home. That whole conversation makes me feel like this is something that they already discussed, and they're just doing this for the purpose of filming, because there's no way that he would come there, or she's going to soon leave to go and get him so he can come here, and you haven't already figured out where he's going to be located. So Barry's like, well, that'd be great that he's coming out here. Maybe that means after y'all get married that y'all can stay here, excuse me, and that you guys can have grandkids, and that I can actually be nearby, because we know that his daughter doesn't live nearby. That I don't know how many kids she has now, but I know in like season 2 she was having a baby. So Lydia's like, hold on, Dad, we gonna wait at least another 2 years before we have babies. Let me tell you something, I've learned this from a few of my friends that waited until marriage to have relations. Make sure that you get on birth control, like, well before you get married, because I got a bunch of friends that got pregnant right away. That's what happened to my mom. And she wouldn't mind me telling her story. My mother was a virgin when she got married to my father, and my mother conceived me right away. Like, they got married in July, and I was born in August of the next year. So it goes to show you, like, you got to make sure that you're on it. Um Lydia wants her brothers to hang out with Zach more, especially with him coming there. Um, she said that Ethan did call her and tell her that he's sorry about giving Zach a hard time. And Barry's like, did he say that to Zach? And he's like, no, he doesn't have his number. So he's like, well, is he needs to say it to Zach. And I agree. I think they all owe Zach an apology, not just for what they said there, but for the way that they acted during her proposal. Whether I feel like she knew that the proposal was happening or not, you could have ruined her moment. And it was very selfish of them to do that. So we see Mariah and her friend Sydney playing Chubby Bunny with Barry. Y'all, I don't know what it was about this scene, but it was so cringy to me. I'm not saying don't hang out with your child and her friend, but there was something about it to me that felt a little inappropriate. And I don't know why that is. I could be wrong. It's fine if I'm wrong. I just feel like there are moments where Barry is very cringy to me. And this was one of these moments. So I said in my notes, it's a little weird. Where did all the rules go? Barry says he's going to miss Mariah when she goes to Montana. I put in my notes that Mariah is running away. I much rather her stay put or leave to go get some form of intensive therapy or a life coach, because they're trying to make it seem like she needs this because of whatever she's went through over the past months, when in my opinion this is beyond the past months. This has to start from childhood until now. This is years and years of things that have happened in her life across the span of her entire life that have affected her in different ways that she's still struggling to navigate. And I feel like because she keeps moving from place to place, she's not really trying to work through it. I think she's trying to run from some stuff, but that's just my opinion. So we later see, after they do Chubby Bunny and Barry's spitting his stuff out in the trash can and Mariah's doing hers in the yard, they go and they grab a drink. And Barry gets a Truly. Like he orders a little bit of spirits, a little bit of liquor. And according to him, he's now being more flexible when it comes to drinking because the children aren't minors. How quickly things have changed. I thought that you all were not drinking for religious reasons. What prompted this change? My mother is a person who does not drink for religious reasons. My mother has never had any alcoholic beverages whatsoever for religious reasons, because a lot of people who feel strong convictions about that don't bend when it comes to that. So how do we go from you being so opinionated about Ethan and Olivia drinking to you now sitting at a bar and drinking with your daughter and her friend? It's odd to me. So they talk about dating. Barry wants someone who wants to travel, who wants to laugh, who wants to be physically active. But he says right now that that's not his priority. He's still focusing on the younger girls as well as enjoying being single, which technically Barry's still not single because you're married. I don't think y'all need to be dating anybody until you get this divorce, and maybe that will help you move it along. But the fact that this is still being, a thing after a couple of years, like, get it together. um I put in my notes, I wouldn't be surprised if Barry shows up with someone who's significantly younger when he does start to date. So Mariah does a cheers to the best dad and best friend ever. Interesting choice of words for her toast. And then Barry wants to cheers to Montana. So we go from that back to Micah and Veronica. They are in the front yard arguing, right? About the same thing that they've been arguing about for the past couple of episodes. They're in the back arguing. Ethan and Amber are in the front trying to avoid all of that. So Ethan feels like this situation with them is just getting worse. It is. And at this point, he feels like Veronica has a problem with not just the first people that she had a problem with, but now she has a problem with all of them. It does seem to be that way. It does seem to be a thing where little by little she's having problems with all of them. I think the only three that aren't on her list, maybe four, is Lydia down. Everybody that's older, no, because Isaac, I think she has a problem with Isaac. So we'll say with the younger girls. I think those are the only people that she doesn't have a problem with. So Micah, of course, feels like he's in the middle. His siblings at this time, we're talking about Amber and Ethan, they feel bad for him. Veronica is telling Micah in the back that his family doesn't feel things, that Micah is defensive, that nothing gets resolved, that she feels attacked, that she doesn't want to shrink for people who don't value her. Now, I didn't understand her feeling attacked, but then I saw a preview for next week, and it's very much so, or for what's coming up, and it's very much so them all sitting in the living room as they dump on her one by one. Y'all, if that's what y'all are doing, I can see why she feels attacked, but we don't know. I guess we'll find out. So Ethan comes to the backyard to see what's going on, and she's talking about cheating. She mentions cheating as soon as they come back there, and she's like, tread lightly, tread lightly. You're not going to keep on throwing that up in my face. You decided to take me back. I cheated. Okay, what's next? So she asks Ethan and Amber to please excuse themselves because a little girl shouldn't be hearing this. So they're supposed to go for a walk, but they don't go far. But Veronica is being condescending. Does this girl not realize that she can break up with him if she is this unhappy? So she's talking about how Kim wanted Micah on the title of her house or of the house. But why would she do that? Because she's not a Plath, which makes me feel like, did he not put any money into anything? Is this all her stuff? Even the new house that they got? If you know, put it down below. How his family wants to use her. Use her for what? How the family all called her a liar. So it went from it being the dad and Mariah to now the whole family. As I said, I missed out on some stuff. If you know, let me know down below, please. And then she claims that she's talking down to him so he can understand her. But I don't understand women like this. If he has made you this upset and he has done wrong by cheating on you, why do you still choose to be with him? If you're going to continue to punish him, then leave, because what you're now doing is becoming an abuser yourself verbally. He says he's been trying to fix things. She's like, how? He's like, I stood up for you. I did say something. She feels like he waited too long. He brings up the letter. She's like, do you think that that letter was apology? And he's like, she wrote a good letter. Do you think that was an apology? And he says, yes. And she doesn't feel that way. In my opinion, she's acting like Mariah is the enemy. And at this point, Mariah shouldn't still be an issue. And I say that because Mariah isn't currently really talking to him or to her. The girl is moving to Montana. Pick something else to be upset about. You keep blaming Mariah for while you're having problems, and now you're also putting it on Olivia. Because she then drops the bomb that not only is she going through something similar to what Olivia went through, but that she has been talking to Olivia for the past couple months. And Olivia has filled her in on everything. Olivia did not fill her in on everything that we saw. Olivia told her some things, but if she really wanted to be filled in on stuff, all she had to do was do like us and watch the show. Micah can't believe that she took it this far, because he doesn't think she would have said anything otherwise. So, she tells Micah that he needs to grow a pair, that she wants him to stick up for her. And as she's saying all this, Micah is calm. Now, if it's for the cameras or not, I do not know. I will say that for the most part, out of the brothers, Micah does seem like the calmer one. He's more of a follower, he's not a leader. I don't think that that's necessarily a good thing, but I don't think that like Ethan, I can see Ethan, this is me alleging, I can see Ethan getting to a point where he's violent. I don't see that in Micah. And I could be wrong. It's just what I've seen so far. But it makes me wonder, like, what are y'all like when the cameras aren't around? If this is what y'all doing when the cameras are around. So she leaves and goes to the other house. Ethan and Amber end up letting us know later on that because of all the tension and stuff, they ended up getting a hotel. So the next day, Veronica, we find out, is still mad. Micah, Ethan, and Amber are helping uh, at a job. So it's Micah's job, but Ethan and Amber are helping Micah at this fencing job. He's at this job site installing fences. Micah tells Ethan that He loves Veronica, but it's hard when they fight. It's getting harder and harder that he didn't want to be caught in between his family and his girlfriend, but that's where he is. Of course, Ethan can relate to this because the same thing had happened to him. Too much time has passed, in my opinion. She's never going to let this go. So he tells Ethan, I have something else to tell you. Veronica calls me a spineless worm, and she let me know that she reached out to Olivia. The way that he stopped working when Micah said Olivia and he stopped doing what he was doing, I said, ooh. So she reached out because they have common ground. And now Micah is acting like Olivia in some way influenced the way that Veronica is now feeling, because that's basically what Veronica said, when that's not truly the case. This has nothing to do with Olivia, but y'all are going to find a way to bring it back to Olivia. Ethan feels like Veronica was wrong, and that rather than trying to fix things, all she's doing by talking to Olivia is trying to justify her actions. Micah wants to know if their family is that messed up, and Ethan says no. Tegan gets along with them just fine. Tegan doesn't live in the same state as them or you. So I don't really know if that's a good example. And you and Tegan aren't in a place yet where you're that serious because you're not residing in the same household. I think the problem comes when she's around the family more, which we know she's not around the family a lot because she was just meeting some of the family at this proposal. So Micah at this point is unloading his feelings to Amber and to Ethan. And as he's talking, I'm saying to myself, this isn't going to make them like her anymore. This is going to make them have more of a dislike for her. So he says that a lot of what she's doing and the accusations she has about others is what she's actually doing herself. That she always, when they get into an argument, threatens to leave or wants to leave. That his family is the problem, and it's causing more problems. Bottom line, Ethan says either way, they'll be there for him. Y'all, this episode was very, very interesting because it just seems to me that Veronica and Micah, which I think we all know at this point, spoiler alert, they're done. But they should have been cut their losses, because Veronica seems like she's a little off too. She does. Because you're accusing them of lying about things, and things of that nature. And I get that the Plath men are obnoxious and absurd, and there's a lot of clownery, but you saw this. You had to. I think all of them are emotionally stunted. I don't think it's just the Plaths. I think she is too. But you all let me know your thoughts down below. Rate this episode. It looks like this season is going to get good, and we actually do get to see how messed up Micah's nose guy. That thing looked bad. Anyways, thank you guys so much. Like the video as it helps the channel and it helps me in the algorithm. We are on the road to not 2,000, girl. You got 2,000. We are we are on the road to 3,000, and I hope to get there sooner than later. Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time.